going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. How are you? I'm Mistress Carrie, and it's 8:30 on a Tuesday night, which means, it means that my microphone's upside down, and that it's time for Cocktails in the War Room, which is where we meet up every Tuesday night to encourage ourselves to make it through the week and to talk about everything that's going on and to find out who's on the podcast this week. Basically, be our own support group, which we've been doing since March 14th of 2020. And I believe this is, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, is this episode 117 or 116? I can't remember. But anyway, welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. How are you? I apologize once again for being a couple minutes late. I don't know what's been going on the last few Tuesdays, but it feels like Tuesday is the day when literally everything gets crazy. And I am running around the house trying to get the war room set up for the show every week and cutting it super close. So I don't know what's going on, but I appreciate you guys being here with me every week. Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me all right and that everything is good. Yo, what's happening, says Melissa. Did you dig out a spot for Wednesday in the snow? Keith wants to know. The snow is taller than Wednesday, and she is not pleased about it. So we got a ton of snow. What's up, David? This is 116, Paula says. So I appreciate that. Episode 116. It's absolutely insane. The time just blurs in COVID time. I know it does, Brianna. It totally is right there. Loud and clear, says Karen. All good, says Tony. Paula says, I believe it's 116. The website will tell you. MistressCarrie.com has all of the episodes on it. And every episode on Facebook gets immediately loaded up onto YouTube and then up to MistressCarrie.com after the show. So in case you tune in late and you think you missed something in the beginning, or you want to go back and rewatch it or share the episode or whatever it is, you can always double check the episodes on MistressCarrie.com. Fuzzy hair tonight. I know. I don't know what's going on. It's like so staticky. I just went and visited Linda. So I got the fresh dye job, which is why my head is purple. But look, we got to make do with what we got to make do with. It just is what it is. Wednesday was in here and then she took off. Wednesday, come here. I just turned your camera on, Rockstar. Get over here. I got the Pug Cam working without a problem this week. So, of course, why wouldn't she totally avoid coming in on the show? Because her personal camera is working. Come here, Wednesday. Come and see me. Come up and say hi to everybody. Come here. Come say hi to everybody. There she is. Say hi, everybody. I almost got buried in snow today. Yeah, she is not happy about it. I had to take her out in the middle of the storm last night. And it was just blowing in her face, and she was less than pleased. I don't know what it's like to be a dog that's a foot tall and looking at a wall of 3 feet of snow that the plow guy just mounded up, but she has just not been happy about it. Wednesday, come over here. Stop knocking the pillows off the couch and get over here and show everybody your cute face. Pug Cam is a go. Same here in Fitchburg, says Jeff. No more home dye job, says Keith. No. COVID masks, protocols, hand washing. I'll do whatever I got to do to go and see Linda and get my hair done properly. So, are you guys seeing this? Wednesday, what are you doing? Knock the other pillow off. There you go. There it is. You going to go back the other way now? Wednesday? Go ahead. Go back the other way. If you're new to Cocktails in the War Room, this is part of the in-flight entertainment each and every Tuesday. All right, now she just took off again. So that's what happens. Wednesday likes to push the pillows on and off the couch constantly. So heard you guys got slammed. 0 inches in Kansas. Thanks a lot, David. Marcy says, hi, Carrie. And Wednesday got around 20 inches of snow and air in the Littleton area. Let's see. I wanted to stop in and say hi, even though I'm not dealing well with the pain from cleaning snow. Yeah, everybody, we have all not been doing very much. So exercising to that level with snow shoveling, you're going to hurt your back. You're going to just be careful. Stretch it out, lube it up. And if you need a cocktail at the end of it, you can have one. I went vodka soda again tonight. I had that last weekend. It was just good. Kind of wish I put a lime in it, but it's lime seltzer. So good. Delicious. Jamie, now you know what I'm drinking. What's going on, Jamie? Kenny says R.I.P. Dustin Diamond, which is crazy. From Screech from Saved by the Bell passed away. He literally got diagnosed with cancer like 3.5 weeks ago, and he just passed away over the weekend. South Shore got mostly rain, says Paula. It's a balmy 54 degrees here in Little Elm, Texas, says Heather. So jealous. You got to see the snow we got going on up here. Let's see. I have been soda free for 9 days now. Nicely done. Does seltzer water count as soda? I don't count it as soda because it doesn't have any sugar in it, but I like the bubbles. It's the Carrie version of the claw. Stretch it out and lube it up. Exactly. You got to get ready for all that winter cardio of shoveling all of that snow. Elsa says Super Bowl this Sunday. I know. It hurts my soul to cheer for Tom Brady in a Super Bowl when he's not wearing a Pats uniform, but you got to do it, right? You can't not root for Tom Brady if you're in New England. I mean, as mad as you can be that he's not playing for the Pats anymore, like, brutal. What's up, Jerry? How are you? Danielle says Nick is sick but says hi. Tell him that we all hope he feels better. Got a foot plus in South Hadley, says Scott. Hello from Destin, Florida. 0 inches of snow here, but our beach sand looks like snow. Really, Joe? Really? That's where you're going today? Bastards. You're all bastards. Hey, Purplicious, having brown water with you. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Moriarty. How are you? How's everything up in the valley? Cheers to you. Let's see. Heidi says, no, you are doing awesome. Still have my coffee with almond milk, Dunkin' Donuts all the way. Yeah, it is what it is. You got to go with the dunks. I don't care. Iced coffee. I was drinking iced coffee yesterday while I was clearing the path in the house. Like full parka, hat, gloves, everything. Iced coffee. It just is what it is. Congratulations on your retirement, Dennis. I hate snow and everything with it, says Eric. Yeah, it's February. This is what we're supposed to be dealing with in February. I did catch myself, you get all of those catalogs and mailers. I got one for like trees and landscaping stuff. And I caught myself daydreaming about like all the landscaping work I want to do in the yard this summer. And it was nice to think about like the lawn and my garden. And then I looked outside and it was like, so it is what it is. Eric got iced coffee yesterday too. Got my test results for COVID and came back positive yesterday. No way, Ed. Really? Hopefully you're not symptomatic. Did you just get tested because you needed to, or were you not feeling well? Obviously feel better. And now you have an excuse to make everybody wait on you hand and foot and be like, I got the COVID. You got to bring me groceries. And would you mind stopping at Dunks for me? And, give them really specific food orders for stuff they can leave on your front steps. Now's the time to milk it. I got a positive test. I can't leave the house. Can you guys do all of this stuff for me? That would be great. So just obviously we don't, in all seriousness, I'm not making light of the fact that you have it. We want you to be healthy. But there have been a lot of people that have tested positive and been asymptomatic. And well, now's that's the time to get yourself spoiled. So obviously if you need anything, let us all know. That's why we're all here in the War Room, to be a support group for everybody. Lots to talk about this week. I do have some great interviews coming up in the next couple of months for the War Room. So be looking for guests. We don't have a guest tonight, but a ton of stuff to talk about. So the first thing we want to talk about is the podcast recap. And last week was episode 34, talking to Tyler Connolly from Theory of a Dead Man, who I just love. He's always so much fun. If you heard the episode, He tried hijacking the episode so many times by trying to interview me on my own damn show. But his podcast is great with Dave from the band. They have a podcast called Band Meeting. They interviewed Mark Tremonti, and they've been talking to a lot of the different bands that they've toured with over the years. And it's one of the things that they've had to do because the band is separated. Tyler's in LA. Another one of the guys, I believe, is in Vegas. Another one is in Nashville, and another one's in Canada. So they're really not able to do very much right now. So Joe says, we love Wednesday. She's in the other room now. She knocked all the pillows off the couch, and now she has no interest in being the star of the show anymore. So what did you guys think of the episode this week? Did you hear anything about Theory or Tyler? Did we talk about anything that you learned that was new or that you thought was really funny? The conversation about the Night Stalker documentary on Netflix, which I have still not been able to watch because the only time I've had the free time has been late at night. And like I told him in the interview, like, I'm not watching the Night Stalker documentary in the middle of the night in the house by myself. I don't need that kind of stress in my life. Let's see. Can't wait to listen, says Victoria. You have such great podcast episode. Love the content. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. Do you think there is any change with the big gig going off, or any chance, about the big gig going off? I'm hearing rumors that it's going to get postponed again. I do not have confirmation on a rescheduled date, but I'm hearing rumors that there's just no way it's going to happen. I believe they're still using the DCU Center as a hospital testing and vaccination site. So I am pretty confident that the big gig is getting postponed again. I just don't have official word on when it's going to get postponed to. So as soon as I get that, I will let you know. You guys do know that the marathon has been postponed already to October. So they've set a date. It's happening in October, but the Boston Marathon is getting pushed off until the fall. Paula said, oh my God, I slept with the lights on after watching The Night Stalker. Yeah. Mark says, shut the fuck up. I don't know what context that's in, Mark, but I'm sure I said something to upset you. I just don't know what it is. Eric says Night Stalker on Netflix was good. Jeff, I can't smell or taste anything. Oh, Ed, I'm so sorry. The Paul Mercurio episode of the podcast, he talked about his kind of horrific experience with COVID and being an Italian guy from Rhode Island. The smelling and the tasting thing really bothered him for a long time. So if you don't know anyone that had COVID, go back and listen to the Paul Mercurio episode, and that will fill you in on some stuff. Brianna said, great documentary. Joshua said, I fell asleep during the Night Stalker documentary. Thank you, Mark. It wasn't directed at me. Okay, I appreciate it. F-bomb, says Keith. Oh, Carrie, you have to try Iron Bean coffee. It's owned by 2 war veterans. It's the best. Heidi, I am always game for trying coffee. Seriously. Rhode Island Air Show is canceled, says Joe. What about the big gig? Sad about the big gig, but understandable. Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows what's going on in the industry right now. A lot of the people that I'm talking to, it's, everybody's kind of waiting for this vaccine rollout to hit, to hit its stride and for people to really be able to kind of figure out what's going on. And until they do that, everything's getting put on hold. There's a lot of rumors that the NFL has a goal of starting next season with fans in all the stadiums. At what capacity, I don't know. But the NFL lost $4 billion last season or this season. And so if the NFL can find a way to put butts in the seats, then the music venues are not going to be long to follow. So we'll just have to see what happens. Jeff said, my daughter had it. Annette says, Night Stalker was great. I love all that stuff. I do not enjoy that stuff. And I brought it up in this episode of the podcast with Tyler. We talked about Jonathan Davis from Korn, who used to have this unbelievable collection of serial killer memorabilia. And he had everything. I mean, spent all kinds of money collecting all of this stuff and then sold it all off because he said the vibes of it, he said it was just very negative. I mean, we talked about it years ago, so I don't remember the exact quote, but it really bothered him having all of that stuff. And so he got rid of it all. Now, I don't know where his whole collection went. There was rumors that somebody was going to open a museum for it, like in Vegas. But Danielle says, can't wait to go to a concert. Ed says, I heard that for baseball as well. Yeah, that they want to start, next season with butts in the seats, but we'll see. What's up with Guns N' Roses in August? William wants to know. I don't know the answer to that. Eric says 4 billion gone. Wow, I know. Mark says, aunt that's in nursing is going to the Super Bowl. Is she one of the people that's on the Pats plane? Aircraft One. They're taking 76 medical frontline workers that have been vaccinated on the Patriots plane to Tampa for the Super Bowl, which I just thought was really cool. They represent all 6 New England states. And just once again, it's the same plane that they flew in all of those N95 masks and stuff. And so I just think it's great to go full circle that they were using it to fly masks over. And now they are trying to reward some of those frontline workers and the healthcare workers that have been our heroes through all of this and take them to the Super Bowl, which is really cool. Let's see. Been almost a year since I've seen a concert. I know my year anniversary for a concert. I believe it was February 28th. I was in Vegas and I saw Bush at the House of Blues. I can't believe that we're just a few weeks away from the anniversary of AAF going off the air, which is just insane. I may have a very special announcement about something that's cool that's going to happen that week, but I can't talk about it right now. But I want to commemorate the anniversary somehow, and so I'm working on some stuff right now. Michael says, Kraft is class. Agreed. Danielle says the Crafts are amazing people. I mean, especially if you saw all of the stuff that we have been doing with Food for Vets and that huge warehouse facility that the Crafts have donated. I mean, it really is unbelievable how they've been through this whole thing. Before anybody asks, I do not have a rescheduled Food for Vets volunteer day, but I am going to get that scheduled because I definitely want to make it happen. It was just too amazing of a day the last time, and we definitely want to do it again. So last February, we saw Collective Soul, says Frank. Last concert was Korn in New Hampshire, says Eric. Takes a lot of balls to get people back into the stadiums. Let's see. Love your puppet in the picture. Thank you very much, Elsa. That's Muppet Mistress. Pajama Party, says Danielle. Not the other Danielle, but I have not heard back from Danielle yet about the Pajama Party. But yeah, that's in the works too. It's like I'm working on all of these things. Melanie says, I'm in KC and they are using our model for the Super Bowl. It can be done. Okay, well, believe me, there's nothing we would all love more than to leave the house and go watch something awesome. I would love to tailgate at a football game right now, even in the snow. It's the year since COVID. Yuck, says Joe. Exactly. Last concert I saw was Ozzy, says William. Will you and Shu get together for the anniversary? Michael wants to know. Shu and I text like every other day. And we definitely want to do something to commemorate the occasion. I don't know exactly what we're going to do yet, but we got to do something. So when are you doing another calendar? Billy wants to know. I don't know, Billy. I think maybe my calendar days are done. Steve says last concert for me was 3/11 in Vegas on 3/13/20. Yeah, so you were in Vegas just a few weeks after me. And yeah, I make the joke all the time. Like, I wish I had known that Bush show was going to be the last show that I saw for a while, because I would have had even more fun than I did already. I mean, it was awesome. All right, so I'm glad you guys liked the Tyler Connolly episode. If you haven't checked it out yet, obviously go back and listen to it. And in the show notes of the podcast episode, there is a link for his podcast, Band Meeting, and all of the links to be able to find the guys from Theory and also all of Tyler's social media stuff. And don't forget, with every podcast episode, I make a corresponding playlist and put a lot of the band's music together for you. But not only that, but all the other music that we talk about in the episode. So if we're ever talking about an artist and you've never heard of that artist before, or you're just curious, I put that whole playlist together to kind of turn you on to some of the new music or maybe some deeper cuts from the band that you didn't know about. I bring it up because the playlist episode for this week is all over the place. This week on the Mistress Carrie podcast, episode 35, which goes live at midnight tonight. If you are a drummer, this episode is for you. Episode 35 features Mike Mangini from Dream Theater. And let me tell you, Mike wired up in his studio his drum set with a microphone and cameras so that I could do the interview for the podcast with him behind a drum set. Now, if you are not familiar with Mike Mangini, he's a Massachusetts guy. He was a drummer in Extreme after Paul Geary, the original drummer, left the band. He played drums for Steve Vai. He was a professor at Berklee College of Music. He was recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest drummer in history. Like, they measured him with his hands tapping on like a pad. It's unbelievable. And he's been the drummer of Dream Theater since Portnoy left in 2010. Mike Mangini's brain and its connection to his limbs is not normal. And one of the things I was able to talk to Mike about was how he thinks and what goes through his head to get his body to do what it does to play the drums in Dream Theater and be able to do these drum solos in these crazy time signatures. And I had never really heard him describe it the way that he described it, and was able to give me practical examples because he was sitting behind the drum kit. What's up, Savello? I love it when all of my military buddies bump into each other here in the war room and they start saying hi to everybody. So if you're a drummer, this is really going to be interesting for you. If you are a Dream Theater fan, there's some little nuggets of information about the upcoming Dream Theater record because Mike has already recorded his drum parts for the new album. It's a really, Keith says, I am a drummer. You've got to hear this episode. And I'm really curious next week what you're going to say about this episode, because Mike goes into the history of his playing, how young he was, the drummers that he looked up to as a kid that he tried to replicate. He talked about some of the things that he has had to kind of invent on his own and work with like Pearl drums, Vader drumsticks, Zildjian cymbals, to be able to make the drum sounds that he hears in his head that he wants to have be part of his music. He also talked about something that I didn't know about his audition for Dream Theater, which I thought was really amazing. So there's a lot of great stuff in here. Frank says, any drummer that can replace Mike Portnoy. I know. And I'm not glowing over Mike Mangini because he's been a friend for 25 years. It's because I know how good he is. And Mike, when you get like, that would be like saying Tom Brady doesn't know how good of a quarterback he is. He obviously does. It's just when someone is at that level, there's a difference between knowing that you are at the pinnacle, that you are in the upper echelon of whatever your chosen field is, and just accepting that and still being a nice person, or being a conceited total douchebag because you know you're better than everyone. Mike Mangini is very well aware that he is a skilled drummer, but he's still filled with self-effacing humor and humility, and he's not a dick about it. But the way he talks about some of the things, when he breaks it down about what he is able to do with his body, and I had him playing some crazy time signatures that I don't even understand, and he broke down what he's thinking about during a Dream Theater show. I'm really, really curious what you guys think about this episode. Even if you're not a drummer, even if you're not the biggest Dream Theater fan, it's super interesting to hear someone that is at the top of their field talk about how they got there and also what goes through their head. Like, I would love, if he were able to do it, to hear Tom Brady say out loud all of the things that are running through his head at the same time after he takes the snap. When he's scanning for Gronk or he's looking for a running back, and is he going to hand it off, and the fake, and the guys coming after him, and can he throw the long ball, and like it's this stream of consciousness. And that's what Mangini was doing in this interview about playing the drums. And it's like he's thinking so fast that he couldn't even get everything out of his mouth fast enough. Diva says, I'll listen at work tomorrow. Heidi says, I've been going around stocking my fridge and freezer since COVID-19 and have a chance, have a zombie apocalypse. I've been prepping for survival mode. Yeah, exactly. That's what you got to do. Shannon says, my last concert was Breaking Benjamin Chevelle, 3 Days Grace in Mansfield in 2019. I don't think there is one podcast of yours that I haven't loved. Thank you, Annette. I appreciate that. Let's see. Never heard of Dream Theater, Danielle says. The most popular song they ever had is an older song called Pull Me Under, but it is definitely prog rock. It is definitely a thinking man's rock music. It's like, it's not the same by any means, but it is definitely more orchestral, heavy metal. But we talk about it in the episode that every member of Dream Theater is at the top of their field. Vocals, guitar, bass, keyboard, drums. Every piece of Dream Theater is so highly skilled that there's just no way that the music they make isn't going to be on an elevated level. Like sometimes I listen to the music that Mike sends me and I feel stupid because it's just so far beyond anything that my brain can calculate. Heather says, oh my God, Dream Theater is amazing. Jeff says, can read defense is really good. So that's what I'm talking about, is that Tom Brady has this ability because he plays at such a high level that he can recognize threats, that he can see openings that nobody else can see. And he's not able to look at it from up above, you know, the way that the analysts see it. He's looking at it while a 300-pound dude is running straight for him that wants to beat his ass. Well, Mike Mangini is sitting in the middle of that tornado of Dream Theater, and he's, in a lot of ways, the conductor. He is the engine. He's triggering, he talks about it in the episode, triggering a lot of the video stuff. He's got metronomes and he's got cues with all of the different members, and hearing his process of how he orchestrates that job in a performance. It's unbelievable. Frank says, when I have a bad day, I put on Dream Theater, Images and Words. Josh says, let me say I have been living under a rock because I just found Baby Metal. That's another one of those bands that you either love them or you hate them. I understand it. Corey Taylor is a fan and really tried talking me into getting into it. And I have been a slow adopter to the Baby Metal craze. But Michael says they're very technically proficient. Yeah, I mean, it's like watching. Do you ever see like a watch or a clock that you can see through, and you can see all of the finely tuned gears and see the mechanics of it and how perfectly everything has to be in its place for it to work properly? That's Dream Theater in rock and roll, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. Jen says, still my favorite episode was your Uncle Froggy. Thank you. That episode means a lot. There have been some very sentimental episodes. There have been some lighthearted, fun episodes. It's been a little bit of everything. And I can tell you that I'm going to keep zigging and zagging. I can give you the hints that there are going to be some new bands coming on. There's going to be some older bands coming on. There's going to be some out of left field conversations. I'm getting a lot of phone calls now with people trying to get on the podcast. So I'm starting to schedule the interviews out. So I'll be able to give you guys some more hints because they're getting scheduled far out. So I have an idea of who's coming up a month or two from now, which is great. Let's see. Every song on Images and Words is a gem, says Frank. I was listening to Foreigner. That takes me back to the 8th grade, says Diva. He got that skill from Bill Belichick, says Joe. Well, Mike Mangini did not get that skill from Bill Belichick. What the F is Baby Metal? And that's a whole other thing. It's like heavy metal Japanese pop music. You just got to Google it and go on YouTube and experience it because it's really hard to describe. Mark says, any episodes dealing with mental illness? Well, you know what's interesting is that topic gets woven through a lot of the episodes. Tommy Vexed from Bad Wolves on episode 3 talked about it. If you heard the Morgan Rose from Seven Dust episode, there was a lot of conversation about mental illness in there. My Uncle Froggy episode deals a lot with post-traumatic stress. So necessarily an episode just about that topic, not yet. But I think that you'll notice as one of the common fibers in a lot of the interviews, whether it be with military. I mean, episode 4, John Hill, that was portrayed in that movie, The Outpost, talks extensively about the post-traumatic stress that he battled after he got home from that battle in Afghanistan, and how important mental health counseling was for his recovery, and the toll that it takes on the family and the role that the families can play in the recovery of the person. So there's definitely a lot of mental health and mental issues conversations happening. It's just that we tackle a lot of other issues in these interviews as well. Let's see. I love them. All have been with you through the first episode, and it's helped me get through a lot. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. Jordan has live streams on Facebook you need to watch if you are into keys. Oh, that's cool. Loved the Morgan Rose episode. Thank you, Erin. Yeah, that episode I still get email about how candid Morgan was about dealing with his addiction and depression issues. And it's definitely something that comes up a lot, not only because of COVID, but because so many artists are stricken with it, and so many people in the military world deal with these kinds of things. And there's so much of that in my podcast that there's just no way to avoid having mental health conversations on this podcast, which I am extremely grateful, A, that the people want to talk about it, and B, that you guys are so interested in hearing these stories. And I feel like the more we can normalize these conversations, we don't have to make a big deal out of it. Like, oh my God, they're talking about mental health. Like, it can just be something you talk about in an interview. And the more it becomes normal to discuss in a regular conversation, the better we're all going to be for it. Because the more it's going to educate people that don't suffer from depression and mental illness or any kind of mental health issues, but it's also going to make the people that do suffer from those things, that are battling those things in private a lot of the time, feel more comfortable and more matter of fact to be able to just talk about it, as opposed to being like, oh, I'm in counseling, but don't tell anybody because I'm embarrassed. Like, don't need to be embarrassed about it. We can just all talk about it. And we've lost so many artists and so many military personnel about the same stuff: depression, post-traumatic stress, addiction issues, suicide. We need to have these conversations. On this same topic, I just want to send some love out to all of my AAF to Afghanistan guys. They suffered another loss recently. And so I just want to, let them all know that I'm thinking about them, and to just reiterate one more time that if you are really in a dark place, there are always people that are willing to be there for you and to pick up the phone in the middle of the night. And I love the fact that so many people have been so comfortable to come into the war room and just put in the comments, I'm having a bad day, needed to be here, having a really bad day, physically don't feel good, having money trouble, suffered a loss in the family, just lost my job. And that everyone in here has been so overwhelmingly positive to prop that person up and shower them with love and support. Like Mark is saying, I nearly committed suicide 3 years ago. Sometimes you need to say it out loud and ask for help. And it's not easy to do. But I love the fact that we have created a community here on Tuesday nights where we can have these serious conversations and make bag of dick jokes, that we're comfortable talking about all of it and everything in between. And that's what makes you guys amazing. And what makes this such a special place is that we can get together and just have these conversations. Marcy says, my ex-husband is suicidal. And that's really tough because it's, when you're not together anymore, it's like you want to be there for that person. But at the same time, you're not, it's hard. Divorce can make things like that hard. Scott says depression is a bitch. No one should ever feel alone or afraid, says Carol. 5 times hospitalized, says Eric. This is exactly why we all look so forward to Tuesday, myself included. You guys, there's going to be a time down the road where I am going to be able to fill you guys in on everything that has gone on over this past year. And that will show you guys even more exactly how much you have been there for me through everything. And I'm not just talking about the WAF stuff, but there have been a lot of personal things, a lot of family things that have happened that I just have not been in a place where I've been able in such a public forum and way to be able to discuss it. A lot of it's because it's not my story to tell, but I go back sometimes and go through some of the older episodes of the War Room. And there are certain days where you guys definitely were there. And had you guys not been waiting for me to sign on at 8:30, I don't know if I would have gotten out of bed that day. I don't, this has been hard for everybody. I mean, COVID, just everything that's gone on. And so the fact that, that we've all been there for each other like this, and the fact that this is a place that we all feel comfortable doing that, and that it's growing all the time because artists want to come on and people know what the War Room is, and it's a special thing. And so I look forward to coming here every week. I can't wait to tell you who's on the podcast that week and just everything that's gone on. You guys are amazing. So please continue to be the support structure that you are for everybody. And I love that you guys are so supportive to all of the artists that have been coming on the podcast. And I think that episode 35 is going to be another example about that. Even Mike talked about, how hard the downshift has been on him and, being a touring musician and being in a band that really does make its life on the road. These are all things that everyone is downshifting and going through in a disruption in their normal routine. And these things can be really hard to deal with. So I can't wait for you guys to hear episode 35. It goes live at midnight, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next Tuesday and find out what you thought of it. So if you subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast, not only do you get the weekly episodes every Wednesday, but also Monday through Friday, you also get what we call the Sit Rep, which is the Mistress Carrie Situation Report, which is all of your rock news, music headlines, and all of your entertainment updates, everything you need to know, but it's broken down into 5 minutes so that you can literally be in the drive-thru at Dunks and get all of the updates on all of the music news, what's going on in movies, television, streaming, just entertainment in general. And you can just go to mistresscarrie.com. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, if you search for the Mistress Carrie podcast, you're going to find it. So make sure that you subscribe because you get the Sit Rep as well. And the Sit Rep goes live in the middle of the night. So it doesn't matter how early you get up to go to work. It'll be waiting for you when you get up. These are just a handful now of all of the outlets where the Mistress Carrie has expanded to. Of course, a lot of the bigger ones, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio.com, Stitcher, Deezer, Overcast, TuneIn, Player FM, Pandora, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Amazon. Our friends in India continuing to listen to the podcast on JioSaavn and Ghana. The Mistress Carrie podcast is a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network, which is podcasts for music lovers. And they are growing all the time. There's over 75 podcasts in the network now, including Mike Shu's Long May You Young, Neil Young podcast, which is fantastic. If you're a Neil Young fan, you got to check out Mike Shu's Long May You Young podcast. So this is just a fraction of the places where you can check out the podcast. It is absolutely everywhere and is spreading more and more all the time. I don't have an updated heat map yet, but we're holding steady at 98 countries that have been listening to the Mistress Carrie podcast, which is just unbelievable. I also want to thank the podcast sponsor, Digital Federal Credit Union, who sponsors each and every full-length episode every Wednesday of the podcast, and also the Sit Rep sponsor, the Maine Hair Lounge, and Linda, the amazing Linda that does my hair. They are absolutely fantastic. And if you want rockin' hair, go and see Linda because she is amazing. Let's talk about some music and entertainment headlines. There are rumors that they are trying to reboot Frasier with the entire remaining original cast. Frasier, I was shocked to learn, holds a record 37 Primetime Emmy Awards, and it's arguably one of the most successful spin-off shows of all time. I mean, when you think about classic spin-off shows, The Jeffersons was a spin-off of All in the Family. NCIS was a spin-off of JAG that was NCIS, incredibly successful. There have been a ton of successful spin-offs, but Frasier, 37 Primetime Emmy Awards is pretty unbelievable. So I'm interested. And I also want to put it out there, Kelsey Grammer, that obviously Frasier was a radio host. And so if he would like a younger, purple-haired radio host co-star on the updated Frasier, I just want to, Kelsey Grammer, I'm just over here in case Frasier maybe wants to start working at a rock station or something and is looking for a rock DJ that, maybe could be on the show. Just a little hint, just in case you're interested. Three Doors Down announced that they're going to do 3 live streams. All 3 of these streams and all of the other ones that have been announced are up on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Three Doors Down's doing 3 different ones. I believe they're going to do one that's plugged in with just The Better Life, which I believe is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, which is unbelievable. Then they're going to do their greatest hits plugged in with the full band, and then they're going to do a greatest hit show that is all unplugged, which Three Doors Down Unplugged is like one of the best unplugged bands out there. So that can be found up on the events calendar. And I mean, you guys know, because Brad Arnold was on Cocktails in the War Room back in November and on the podcast as well. And just such a sweet guy and so talented. And I just think that these live streams are a great way for us to keep in contact with all of our favorite bands. Vicki Cornell, Chris Cornell's widow, has announced that No One Sings Like You Anymore Volume 2 is in the works. Now, if you did not hear Volume 1, it is fantastic. It is filled with cover songs of artists that inspired Chris Cornell. Volume 1, Chris recorded it, mastered it, and sequenced it, which means he picked the order that the songs were in on the record. Volume 2, Chris Cornell recorded it and mastered it, but he never sequenced the songs. So the Volume 2, the songs were all Chris singing, and they were all recorded purposefully. This isn't like leftover tracks that were in the vault. This was a project that Chris Cornell had intended on releasing. And I'm super happy that there's a Volume 2 because I think Volume 1 is spectacular. The Foo Fighters' Medicine at Midnight comes out this Friday. They've been releasing more hints on some of the other songs. And the songs that I've heard so far have been great. It's definitely something different for the Foo Fighters, which I think is awesome. And I can't believe that they are doing all of this to commemorate their 25th anniversary, which means that the Foo Fighters will very soon be eligible for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which means that Dave Grohl could end up in the Rock Hall twice, which is unbelievable. That he's been in the Foo Fighters like 5 times as long as he was ever in Nirvana, which is shocking as well. But the Foos are 25 years old, which is amazing. Lots to talk about with Marilyn Manson. A lot of this news broke yesterday. Evan Rachel Wood yesterday took to Instagram to finally confirm the rumors that were long thought to be what ended up being true. Back in 2018, Evan Rachel Wood testified in front of a House subcommittee on the rights of abuse survivors. And she talked about an extremely abusive relationship that she was in when she was younger. And a lot of people speculated that that person that she was in the relationship with was Marilyn Manson, although she never confirmed it. But she went into pretty grave detail on national television about the abuse that she had suffered in that relationship. She confirmed that that relationship yesterday was, in fact, Marilyn Manson. She named him. As soon as she released that statement on Instagram, 4 other women have come forward accusing Marilyn Manson of mental, physical, and sexual abuse. Shortly after those 4 women made their accusations, Loma Vista, Marilyn Manson's record company, released a statement that they would no longer be working his latest project and that they would no longer be working on any future projects with Marilyn Manson. Then his former personal assistant and member of the Marilyn Manson road crew came out to confirm that Evan Rachel Wood's claims were in fact true, saying that he did in fact tour with the band in the time when Manson was with Evan Rachel Wood, and that he observed her turning into a different person, although at the time he wasn't really sure exactly what was going on. He also defended himself, knowing that he was going to face backlash for not saying anything. And he said part of the reason why he never said anything sooner was because the band had done a lot of things for him personally, including flying him off of tour after a death in his immediate family, and that he had been treated so well, and that he was so grateful that he had a job for so long, but that he came forward finally because he couldn't handle Marilyn Manson fans saying that these accusers were lying, and that it was more important for him to make sure that those women be acknowledged and that their accusations were backed up and that they were validated. Marilyn Manson came out today and released a statement saying that all of his relationships and everything that's happened in them has always been consensual. He released that statement via social media. And then later on today, Rose McGowan came out and said that she believed all of the accusers and supported all of the accusers as well. So this is a huge story that is only going to get more detailed. Now, I have not seen anything published that any charges were being brought. I don't know if there's statute of limitation things. I don't know if any of these accusers are trying to press charges, criminal charges, civil cases or anything, or if they are just finally at a point where they feel secure enough to be able to tell their story. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that Marilyn Manson also got married last February in the midst of COVID, and there has not been a statement from his wife on this, but this story is developing, and it's crazy. Brent Smith from Shinedown said that there are about 9 songs that are done already, that he has been working with Eric Bass from Shinedown on Shinedown 7, and that the music is in the works, which is great to hear. So I'm hoping that we are going to get a follow-up to Attention, Attention, which I believe came out in 2018, which I can't believe it was that long ago already. But so there's new Shinedown music coming. A shocking announcement from the family of Tony Bennett in the recent episode of AARP's magazine, that Tony Bennett, who I believe is 94, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's back in 2016, I believe. Now, he has a follow-up to the 2014 album, Cheek to Cheek, that he did with Lady Gaga, and there is a new album with Gaga that is in the works. His longtime piano player, because Tony Bennett can't play shows, they get together a couple times a week and go through Tony Bennett's whole show. Now, they said in this interview, Tony Bennett's wife and I believe his son, in this interview in the AARP magazine, that there are times where Tony Bennett doesn't know where he is. I mean, he's suffering from Alzheimer's in his 90s. But his piano player said that as soon as he starts playing the piano and goes into his set, that he is right on the money, that he still sings like he ever did, and that he knows all of his songs. And they also interviewed a doctor who said it's the best thing that Tony Bennett could do was continue to challenge his brain and exercise his brain and to continue to perform, which he hasn't been able to do in public. But I really look forward to hearing the new album with Lady Gaga, because I thought Cheek to Cheek was a fantastic record. Lenny Kravitz is in a Stella Artois Super Bowl commercial this weekend. So keep your eyes out for a lot of musicians that are going to be taking part in the Super Bowl. Miley Cyrus is doing the pregame TikTok show, and The Weeknd reportedly spent $7 million of his own money funding the halftime show, which I cannot even imagine what $7 million of your own money is going to pay for. But The Weeknd is on a tear because he feels very overlooked, and he is incredibly angry that he was overlooked at the Grammys and was not nominated for any awards. So that's what's going on in music. Let's see. Jerry says, wow, that's messed up about Manson. That's crazy. Tagged Kelsey Grammer on Twitter. Thank you very much, Michael. Just saw the ad. Assembly is required is the title. Interesting. Isn't Metallica doing an album? You know what? Metallica, they just announced today, is going to be on the post-game Stephen Colbert show after the Super Bowl. And I believe they're going to perform. And I'm very interested to find, they just announced this on social media today. I'm very curious if Metallica is going to make some kind of music announcement. Are they playing a new song? Are they going to announce a new record? Are they going to announce a new single? I don't know, but they announced, you can look on Metallica's Twitter today, that they confirmed the appearance with Colbert after the Super Bowl on Sunday night, which is pretty interesting. So I don't know what the Metallica guys have planned, but I am very curious. I apologize to everybody in the mail call this week. Usually I go on Monday or Tuesday and I check the mail. And because of the snowstorm, I didn't have a chance to. So we're going to have to do the mail call next week. I'm really sorry. But there was just snow. I'm just going to say that. It's been a lot. MistressCarrie.com. I've had a few people, I called the engineers again. I've had a few people tell me that they tried to buy something in the merch store and that they put something in the cart and then it didn't show up in the cart. And then I've had a bunch of other people been able to buy stuff, no problem. So we're still looking into it. I know that I've added a bunch of other streaming concerts to the events calendar, and starting next week, I am diving headfirst into uploading photo galleries. I know that I have been slacking getting the galleries up, but it has just been so much other stuff that has been going on. But just keep going back to mistresscarrie.com. All the podcast episodes, all the War Room episodes, everything that you're looking for is up there. I have been putting blog posts up. I'm probably going to do a Valentine's playlist. So I'll definitely get that up on the website. So I'm just always trying to put up new stuff on the website. And there are some new merch items that are in the works for the store for spring. So be looking for those as well. Happy birthdays today. We always like to cheers all of the artists that are celebrating birthdays. Shakira is celebrating a birthday today, as well as Graham Nash and Robert DeLeo from STP. So cheers. If today's your birthday, happy birthday to you. Will says, don't forget Wayne and Garth are doing a Super Bowl ad for Uber Eats. That's right. Sometimes I can't believe how many minutes I can talk without, it seems like, even breathing. And then I take a drink and I'm like, oh, that feels good on my throat because I've done nothing but talk for the last 45 minutes. Let's see. Scott, you're the big 40. Happy birthday. Let's see. What else? Oh, want to put a plug in for the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass on Patreon. So over the weekend, I finally was able to get a Backstage Pass exclusive live stream tour of MCHQ. We got all of it working. So I want to thank everybody that has Backstage Passes and thank everybody that joined me in MCHQ over the weekend. They got a tour of the studio, got to take a look at some of the memorabilia and all the little knickknacks that I have in the studio. So if you do not have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass yet, you can get it on Patreon. It's super affordable. And I post up there pretty much every day, exclusive pictures. I just keep in touch with everybody. We're going to start doing those live streams every month now with the Backstage Pass holders. It's kind of like the War Room, but it's a smaller group. And We kind of talk about a lot of stuff that we don't get to here in the War Room. You also get discounted merchandise. So all of February, if you have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, there's a code for you to get $5 off of every beanie. So there's a couple cool Mistress Carrie beanies in the store. There's a black one with the Mistress Carrie logo on it, and then there's a purple one with a pom-pom. They're both super warm, and they are both embroidered by a veteran-owned company by a retired Marine. If you go to the store, you can look in the descriptions of all of the products. And I try really hard to source products that are made in the United States, made in New England, and made by veteran-owned companies. And the beanies are super warm. And they're really cool. So if you have a Backstage Pass, you can get $5 off of every beanie for the entire month of February. And you also, whenever there's a Mistress Carrie deal, you get extra percentages off because you are a Backstage Pass holder. So, for example, you still have time before Valentine's Day, which is when these codes expire, but you get 15% off everything at Canty's Canine Kitchen, which makes gourmet and wholesome treats for your dog. And if you use the code Carrie15, you get 15% off everything until Valentine's Day. People that have a Backstage Pass have a different code that gives them 30% off, which is huge. So just another reason to get yourself a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass on Patreon. And I just want to thank everybody that already has them. And whoever ends up with Backstage Pass number 100 is getting a Mistress Carrie prize pack, which is going to be filled with a bunch of really cool Mistress Carrie gear. So go to Patreon. There's also a link on mistresscarrie.com. And of course, if you're ever looking for me, these are all of the places that you can find me. Twitter at Mistress Carrie, Instagram and Facebook, which you obviously were able to find, Mistress Carrie WAAF, TikTok, Cameo, YouTube, and Patreon. Now let's talk Cameo for a second. Guys, Valentine's Day is coming up. You've got 12 days. I realize that a lot of people think Valentine's Day is bullshit and it's a Hallmark holiday and it's ridiculous. So allow me to make this suggestion. How do you tell someone you love them? How do you break up with someone? How do you propose to someone? Whatever it is that you want to do around Valentine's Day, that's up to you. Actually, Mike Mangini and I had this conversation in this week's podcast episode because he's on Cameo as well. And we were talking about how much fun making these Cameo videos is. So if you don't know what Cameo is, you can go to, there's a link right on mistresscarrie.com, or you can just download the Cameo app and search for Mistress Carrie. And I can make a custom video for you. I can make a custom video for the person you love. So if you don't want to buy them a card, if you don't want to buy them chocolate, you can have people, it's not just me, you can have actors, athletes, musicians make custom videos, and you get this video sent to you, and then you can post it up on your social media. So you can put it up on Instagram, you can put it up on your Facebook or your Twitter or your TikTok, wherever you want to put it. But there's a bunch of like Alice Cooper and Big Poppy. There's all of these people that make Cameo videos. And if you're looking for a great way and a different way to celebrate Valentine's Day this year, let me make the video for you. And you don't have to wait until Valentine's Day. You can get me to make it for you now and then just give it to the person on Valentine's Day. Usually it takes a day or two to turn them around because, you know, I want to make sure that I bathe, brush my hair before I make your video. But they're a lot of fun, and it could be a really cool idea. Even if you don't want me to make them for you, you might bump into, like, I know Gilbert Gottfried makes Cameo videos. They're fucking hilarious. So if you're looking for something to give to somebody that you just think has everything, or you're just looking for an idea that's kind of out of the box, let me or Mike Mangini or anybody else make a Cameo video for you. They're super fun. Or George says a bag of dicks. Either way. Bruce Buffer breaking up with someone's girlfriend was hilarious. I mean, these videos are really funny. And because you have your own social medias, you can post them up anywhere. You get the downloadable file and you can do with them what you want. Trina says the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass for Valentine's Day is a great way to say I love you. Maybe you have a Mistress Carrie fan in your life and you just want to get him a backstage pass on Patreon. Totally affordable and a super good idea. So thank you very much, Trina. Super smart. Is bathing someone that doesn't happen since Joshua, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. This year I got my son for Valentine's Day. Well, there you go. Let's see. Angry Grandma does them too. I'm telling you, when you start going through all of the people that are on Cameo, it's actually pretty hilarious. And that was one of the reasons why I decided to do them, was because I know so many musicians that do them and they're like, no, you got to get on Cameo. It's fun. And it is fun because when you sign up to get a video from someone, it asks you to fill in a bunch of information. So when the person that's going to make the videos looks at it, we know all about the person we're making the video for, and we can customize it to whatever the person that orders the video wants us to do. And it's cool. So there you go. So that's my plug for Cameo. I think that's it. We're not running as late tonight as we were last week because Maddie's not here. Although I got to tell you, I love it when it's just all of us hanging out in the war room, but I like having guests on too. It almost feels like a different kind of show, but I look forward to it when we have guests on. So when he gets her with the ass spray, oh my God, says Josh. Michael says she's funny. Yeah, I mean, some of those videos are... The Gilbert Gottfried one, I just remember because a friend of mine got one for like his 40th birthday. And literally it was like 3 minutes of Gilbert Gottfried just yelling at him for being pathetic for turning 40 and getting a video from Gilbert Gottfried as a gift. Like, it was hilarious. So if you're looking for a Valentine's Day idea or a birthday or a wedding anniversary or someone else's birthday, whatever it is, I would love to make them for you. So just go to mistresscarrie.com. All the links are there. All right. I think that's it, guys. Super excited about episode 35. So episode 35 goes live at midnight, featuring Dream Theater drummer extraordinaire Mike Mangini. And next week, I will bring back the mail call, and hopefully we won't be buried under 37 more inches of snow. All right, guys. Good night. I love you guys. Wait, what are you guys commenting on now? Did you see the pic on Twitter of myself and Maddie years back when he worked with Rocco? I did. You guys digging out some of those old photos is hilarious. This year, my son is turning 14, and I feel so old, Elsa. Keith says another F-bomb. Yeah, they slip out sometimes, Keith. I can't help it. All right. Good night, guys. Thank you for joining me for episode 116 of Cocktails in the War Room. Each and every Tuesday night at 8:30, I will meet you right back here. Good night.